The Howie Carr Show now presents The Week in Woke.
Do you tire of remembering which pronouns to use? Do you find yourself trying to remember the correct acronym when addressing social issues? Are you struggling to find new and exciting ways to reduce your carbon footprint? Well, fear not, friends. The Week in Woke is here to help.
Oh boy, do we have a lot of woke stories to go over in just a few minutes here, Howie. A lot of stuff.
It was a very woke week.
It was a very woke week. That's why we needed a segment like this, because there are just so many more things that are happening. And we're going to start in our own backyard, Howie, and this is one you sent over, and I probably would have glossed over this if you hadn't caught it, but this is a typical media advisory from the governor's office, Charlie Bacon and Pay-to-Play Polito. And this is his schedule for today, and kicked off about 35 minutes ago, this event on Boylston Street. Now, today is April 15th, 8 years ago, right?
Correct.
There was a tragedy in Boston. At least that's how it would be described if you asked Charlie Baker. Today, this is the event, the description of the event. Today, Governor Charlie Baker will join Boston Mayor Kim Janey. That's weird to say. It's weird to not see Marty Walsh's name there. To participate in a wreath-laying ceremony to commemorate One Boston Day, honoring those who were lost in the tragic events surrounding the 2013 Boston Marathon. Now,
the tragic events.
Now, if
what
you
were
weren't-
those tragic events?
If you weren't familiar with Boston or whatever happened 8 years ago on this day, you might think, wow, there must have been a mass dehydration of runners that just dropped dead in the middle of the street. No, there were terrorists that sought destruction and death upon the attendees of the marathon, and they got what they sought. They killed people. Multiple people in the days following as well, and it was terrible. It was a bombing. It was a terror event.
It was Islamic terrorism,
Yep.
and it was glossed over from the moment it happened. When Governor then Small Deval, went on TV and said, "Don't jump to the conclusion that it was Islamic terrorists," even though we all know it was Islamic terrorists, or words to that effect. He went on TV after they found this suicide note, basically in the little boat in Watertown, that was written by the guy who's now on death row, federal death row. And he basically outlined jihad and how he wanted to kill all the Christians and the non-Muslims. And Governor Patrick was asked on a national TV show, what was their motivations? And he said, we still don't really know what drove those young fellas to do such a terrible thing.
I mean, this press release might as well have said tousle-haired teen in this.
Right.
The only point where it says bombing is listing the location, the Boston Marathon Bombing Memorial at 755 Boylston Street.
Oh, that'll be changed soon enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've got to give Charlie Baker credit. He doesn't want to trigger anybody into remembering the events of that day, as horrific as they were. They can't be remembered. They must be glossed over. We can't repeat history and be triggered by it. All right, so that's our local Week in Woke story. Last week, we came upon the term neopronouns, right, Howie?
Yes, neopronouns. Those are there aren't enough pronouns to go around for all the different genders there are. So there's a whole new class of pronouns.
So the term
concocted.
the term neopronouns tends to refer to pronoun sets developed from the 20th century to today. Although neopronouns tend to be gender neutral or might be specifically meant to indicate a transgender or non-binary person, a person who goes by neopronouns could actually be, this is where we all need to be more inclusive, Howie. A person who goes by neopronouns could actually be a man, a woman, both, neither, or something else entirely. Because people's genders tend to be private, the sharing of pronouns should not be taken as an invitation to ask for potentially private information about someone's gender. Some people go by multiple sets of pronouns, or by certain sets of pronouns among only certain audiences.
So how do you know when you're violating the neo-pronoun rules of political correctness?
That's why we need name tags with everyone's name printed on them and the pronouns underneath.
So I want some more examples.
There are certain big box stores that do that. Have you been to Target recently? I'm not sure if this is every Target, but the one in my neck of the woods, you walk in there and all of the employees have their pronouns on them, which they have name tags with their pronouns on them, and I wonder why. Because if I'm addressing an employee, I'm addressing them directly, and I'm using their name. I'm not referring to them in the third person. Strange.
Can't you give me some more examples though of bink and boink and
well, there's the typical zir.
Yeah.
Sometimes they drop a couple of letters, so instead of they, them, theirs, it'll just be am, airs. Those are the ones that are listed in this article. I'm sure there are probably thousands of these pronouns, as there are thousands of genders.
Are we up to thousands? I didn't know we were that high.
I think if you go into the minutia and the space between the genders between genders, we can probably divvy it up into the thousands. Howie, did you know that sweet potatoes are racist?
I heard about this. I want to know, sweet potatoes and yams are racist or just sweet potatoes?
Just sweet potato. Well, sweet potato, it's both sweet potatoes and yams. The fact that you call them yams is racist. You're culturally appropriating. There's a little bit of a narrative to this story from West Africans. The confusion goes all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade when Eudora Odua attended her first American Thanksgiving feast at an aunt's house in California in 2018. She was looking forward to candied yams. She had recently moved from Nigeria to California.
So this racism goes all the way back to 2018.
Yes. Well, actually,
is the New York Times going to start the 2018 project to deal with this endemic racism?
It goes back further than that. Well, all the way back to Columbus. Columbus brought in racist sweet potatoes. But at her aunt's house, Odua found a totally unfamiliar dish when she was looking for yams. It was a casserole of what she called orange blobs drenched in sugar and butter that was nothing like the root vegetable she was familiar with. In the United States, the terms yam and sweet potato are used interchangeably, but they're completely different vegetables. The mix-up originated from the transatlantic slave trade. European slave traders steered their ships across the Middle Passage. They packed yams along with black-eyed peas. We'll get to black-eyed peas another week, to feed their captives. Slave merchant John Barbeau estimated that 100,000 yams were required to sustain a ship bringing over 500 enslaved people, just 200 yams per person for a journey that could take months. In the Americas, where yams were not readily available, sweet potatoes, which had traveled from Central America with Christopher Columbus, took their place. Even the word yam is an echo of the West African heritage of the vegetable.
I think both sweet potatoes and yams are triggering. Do you know why? Because they're orange, and that reminds all of us of Orange Man
That's
Bad.
An excellent, salient point, Howie. The mix-up also has roots in the structural racism that built the country, as we all know. Howie, the Week in Woke is brought to you by Thinker.org. No more in no time with Thinker. That's think with an R, like in read. Thinker summarizes the key ideas from noteworthy nonfiction. With Thinker, you can get a 10-minute summary to read or listen to, so you can try before you buy. For a free trial, including Howie's New York Times bestseller, The Brothers Bulger, go to thinkr.org. That's thinker.org. This is really cool, Howie. If you go onto thinker.org, you search for Brothers Bulger, they will show you this 15-minute readout. You can get all the main points of your own book, and you can decide if you want to read the whole thing or not. It gives you it's like Cliff Notes, but it's much more in depth. And they also have it in audio form. And here is your book, the intro to your book in audio form.
The Brothers Bulger: How They Terrorized and Corrupted Boston for a Quarter Century, by Howie Carr. What you'll learn. Most Boston mob movies only begin to depict the extent to which corruption plagued Boston, thanks to the Bulger brothers and the complex webs they built in politics, law enforcement, and the criminal underworld. Howie Carr was close to the action in Boston, working as a journalist. He tells the story of the rise and fall of their empires.
Isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. He did a pretty good job of summing it up in 25 seconds or so. That's good.
That's just the intro to the book, and there's more summary to be had if you go to thinker.org, THINKR, and get a free trial. All right, so go ahead, Howie.
Go ahead. You
All
go
right.
ahead.
So we have one last story, and this is our social justice warrior of the week. White XR eco-warrior claims giving pupils too much dairy is racist. Extinction Rebellion's Brighton chief.
If they want to take away sweet potatoes and yams, I don't really care. It's not a big deal to me. But I'm not giving up dairy. Sorry, I'm not giving up cheese.
Milk.
I
guess according to this woman, even chocolate milk is racist.
I don't like milk that much.
Allison,
but I like cheese, and I certainly like ice cream.
Allison Plummer from XR has launched a petition on Brighton and Hove City Council's website for 2 plant-based days at state-run schools as soon as possible because she says that there's a racist element to serving too much dairy. Here she is.
All of the nutrients can be found in plant-based foods that are found in animal foods. Arguably, there's a racist element to serving dairy too much because 65% of the world's population are lactose intolerant, many from the BAME community. Loads of parents around here. There's lots of support in that in the deputation. What children want, they want action. They want it now. And if you do this, it will help children to learn these at an early age.
Boy, she sounds like Veruca Salt. I want it now. But there's
there's a children's ditty I remember. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Did she ever hear that ditty?
If she did, she probably labeled those children as absolutely, positively racist. But there is some truth to what she's saying. Lactose intolerance occurs among people who do not produce enough of substance called lactase. In essence, they lack the enzyme to process.
I know. I first was familiar with this. Mike Dukakis was running for president in 1988, and he was trying to suck up to Jesse Jackson and not give him an airplane. So he said, I'll send over some good food for him for the and you know what he sent him? He sent him some clam chowder, world-renowned clam chowder from Legal Seafood. And do you know what the base of New England clam chowder is?
Cream.
Right. And so Jesse Jackson, believe it or not, took it as a diss. So this thing goes back a long way at this point.
Would he have been happy if it were New York clam chowder?
Or Rhode Island? I think, though, that, Mike Dukakis had to make it up to him, and Jesse got his own private jet for the campaign.
All right, Howie.
Reparations.
That is your week in woke. I hope you're a little bit more woke this week than the last.
All right. Thank you. And again, if you've got something, send it to Taylor at HowieCarrShow.com and just slug it Week in Woke. And we don't have any prizes yet for the best entries of the week. But if you just want to help us out, that'd be great because it's a woke world out there, and only a handful of people can't keep up with every damn thing. All right. You may have just received a special email from me about Balance 7. All my energy is thanks to Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. You feel better, and I personally sleep better since I've been taking Balance 7. It also reduces acid reflux and heartburn. Often I'm asked to try products, and I can be very skeptical of claims, but with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I don't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wears on. By allowing me to sleep better at night, I have more mental clarity during the day.
Do you find that you get a lot of acid reflux and digestion problems after you eat maybe some clam chowder?
You know what, Taylor? I don't find myself eating as much clam chowder as I used to, and maybe that's one reason.
Yeah, maybe you should try it again and then chase it with some Balance 7.
Yeah, Balance 7, it's really good. It just improves your mental clarity. It improves the way you feel almost instantaneously. You're really going to like the product. Give it a try. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body over time. All you have to do is drink a small shot of the liquid 3 times a day, and you will feel the difference. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, give Balance 7 a try. Balance 7 is made in America and has sold over 6 million units worldwide. Order your 1-month supply at balance7.com. Use code word HowieFree to save $10 off your first order and free shipping. Be one of the first 50 to purchase Balance 7 and receive Smooth Skin, an exfoliant and deep cleansing skin conditioner valued at $13.99 for free. What a deal. Order now and receive $10 off your first order for a 30-day supply. You get free shipping and you get a chance to receive Smooth Skin Conditioner at no charge. You will be happy when you start taking Balance 7 3 times a day. You will feel better. All by using my code word HowieFree. That's HowieFree.